The Sega Master System saw over 273 video games released during its production run in North America and Europe. But just like every console, a few games that were set to be published were lost and never released for one reason or another. Today, we're exploring canceled Master System games and showcasing why they were canned, whether it was the sales forecast, poor reviews on other consoles, or simply the production stopped. But before we get into this video, make sure you sub to this channel to watch plenty of more Master System content, from countdowns, retrospectives, and the ultimate ranking of Master System games. Let's head to the cutting floor and discover 10 canceled Master System games. Battletoads. Battletoads became a hit in North America with the release on the NES by Rare. This brutal beat-em-up punished players, but they kept coming back for more. Ports for Battletoads to Sega included the Genesis and the Game Gear, but the Master System was skipped until Virgin Games acquired the rights in 1993 to publish it in Europe. Originally planned to be released on Easter in 1993 and then delayed to Christmas of '93, Battletoads was eventually cancelled. However, Brazil did see a game release titled Battletoads and Battlemaniacs in 1996. Whether any of the work from the original Battletoads went into that release is a mystery. The Viking Child. The Viking Child was released in 1991 to various consoles and systems, but despite being planned, it never saw the light of day for the Master System. The Viking Child was a platform game featuring Brian, who one day comes home from his travels to find that his village has been destroyed and his family kidnapped by an evil wind. In this game, there are 8 levels, each with a boss guardian to defeat. You can use swords, potions, shields, and special battle skills during the game. The game was pretty far into development, even being reviewed by some publications with a price listed, but it was never released. And honestly, I'm not sure why. Crystal's Ponytail. This action-adventure game for children was released exclusively in North America in 1994 for the Sega Genesis. Crystal's Ponytail was targeted for a younger audience, more specifically girls, to get them interested in the Genesis. During Crystal's adventure, players control the friendly pony, who is on a rescue mission to find her friends who have been kidnapped and stop an evil witch. There was a Master System version planned for Europe, but due to the poor sales of the Genesis version, this game was cancelled. Road Rash 2. Road Rash 2 was released in December of 1992 on the Sega Genesis. It was a very popular and successful game that combined motorcycle racing with arcade mechanics of bashing other players. 2 years later, in December of 1994, it was announced that Road Rash 2 would see a release on the Master System and Game Gear. Although this never came to light, it was rumored that Road Rash 2 was reworked in a Kawasaki Superbike Challenge on the Game Gear. For whatever reason, Road Rash 2 was never released. The Excellent Dizzy Collection. The Excellent Dizzy Collection is a compilation game that consists of Dizzy the Adventurer, Panic Dizzy, and Go Dizzy Go. Released for the Game Gear in Europe of 1994, there was going to be a Master System port. However, the Game Gear port is not optimized specifically for the system. It runs in the Master System's native resolution and does not tap into the extended color palette. When the Game Gear port was released, the Oliver twins, who had developed Dizzy, left Codemasters, leaving the IP in limbo. Despite the planned release for the Excellent Dizzy Collection in April of 1994, the port on the Master System was abandoned. Phantasy Star 2. This next entry hurts personally for me. One of the best games released on the Master System was Phantasy Star, and Sega planned to release the sequel on the Master System until decision makers wanted to shift the focus onto the next generation. Here is a direct quote from Kotaro Hayashida, who was working for Sega at the time. Quote, Phantasy Star 2 was originally planned for the Sega Master System as a direct sequel to Phantasy Star. Later it was decided it would be released on the Mega Drive, so we had to rework all of our plans. Despite that huge change, we only had a half year to finish the game, a real oppressive schedule. And of course, we had to complete the debugging in that time frame, so when you consider the normal schedule for an RPG, Phantasy Star 2 was created in an incredibly short period. The only reason we made it was because of Yuji Naka." End quote. Now, who is Yuji Naka? Well, he co-created Sonic the Hedgehog. Phantasy Star 2 was released on the Genesis in 1990 and saw tons of success, but it sure would have been sweet to have it on the Master System. James Pond 3. The third and final entry in the James Pond series was released in 1993 on the Genesis and then 1995 in Europe on the Game Gear. This platform-heavy series is inspired a bit by Sonic the Hedgehog with a twist of Super Mario World. A Master System port was at one point planned, but it probably wasn't far into production as it was canceled for unknown reasons and little is known about it. Pat Riley Basketball. Alright. Time for a sports game. Pat Riley Basketball was released in 1990 on the Sega Genesis. Endorsed by the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers at the time, who was Pat Riley, it features 8 different teams to play as. Unfortunately, the game was received very poor and it didn't sell well. A Master System port was developed but canceled, most likely due to the poor reception of the Genesis release. Last Action Hero. Based on the film of the same name, Last Action Hero was planned to come out on the Master System along with a variety of other consoles and systems. This action beat-em-up game was released on the Genesis and the Game Gear in 1994, but it was met with terrible reviews and was seen as a big disappointment. Plans to release the game in Europe were canceled and the Master System port was scrapped due to how negative the game was received. Lemmings 2: The Tribes. Alright, let's end this with a ray of hope for anyone interested in playing this next game. Lemmings 2: The Tribes was released in 1994 for the Sega Genesis and was received quite positive. This single-player puzzle game saw players guiding little lemmings from an entry point to an exit point within a certain amount of time while avoiding hazards. The game was completed in 1994, but publisher Psygosys decided that it was not commercially viable to release it on these Sega 8-bit platforms. A lot of publishers were pulling out of Sega 8-bit cartridge production in Europe due to the high cost of production runs. Lemmings 2 was 100% completed and approved and was even reviewed by Sega Power, but it was never released. But here's where the hope comes in for those wanting to play this version. Matt Taylor, the programmer for the 8-bit Master System version, has since released it as a ROM that you can download and play today. So those were 10 canceled Sega Master System games. Which one of them were you hoping to play? Are there any other Master System games that I missed that were in production? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more Master System content. Thanks for watching.